Today, I will introduce a crime, criminal, and action film released in 1994, called Leon, the Professional. A tracking shot leads us to the Little Italy neighborhood in New York, and into a restaurant. Tony gives Leon the task of convincing the fat man that infiltrating Mauricio's territory is a bad idea. Leon accepts the mission, and on that day, the fat man arrives at his hotel, with a large security team. He comes to meet his lover and do some work. Leon appears at the front desk. At this moment, the fat man receives a call from Tonto, informing him that a serious man is coming up to meet him. He immediately notifies his security team about the upcoming guest. They stand waiting near the elevator. As soon as someone appears, they immediately start shooting, and the dead body is that of Tonto. The remaining guards quickly prepared the car and searched for the assassin. When the lead guard looked over the stair railing, Leon quickly appeared, grabbed him, and pulled him down. While the others were preparing the drug crates and money to escape, Leon continued to take down each guard and block both exits. He locked the fat man in a room and killed all the remaining guards. Then, Leon looked through a bullet hole, causing the fat man to shoot at that spot. The fat man hurriedly grabbed another gun and called 911, saying someone was trying to kill him. He hid until he was connected to an officer, at which point Leon appeared behind him and he hung up the phone. The fat man begged Leon to take the drugs and let him live, but Leon just gave him a phone number and told him to call it. Mauricio on the other end of the line answered the call and said he would never let him return to the city. Mauricio asked about Leon, then told the fat man to understand clearly and let him go. Leon asked him to say that he understood and disappeared into the shadows. Then, Leon went to the shop in the neighborhood to buy milk as usual and walked into his building. Matilda was sitting on the stairs, saw him, and greeted him. Leon noticed that someone had hit her, but Matilda lied about what had happened. She asked him not to tell her father about the cigarette she had smoked. Suddenly, someone came out of her apartment and argued with her father about the amount of drugs he was holding. Malky said that her father had to be honest about the drugs to avoid causing trouble for his boss. However, Matilda's father stuck to his stance, so Malky reported to the boss that her father would not admit to cutting the drugs. Stan came back, smelled Matilda's father and said he believed him, but he had to know who had done it by noon the next day. They left, and her father shouted for them to figure it out themselves, then slapped Matilda. Leon had heard the whole story. He took a shower, drank milk, put on a shirt and most importantly, took care of his plant. When night fell, Leon sat down in a chair and slept. The next day, Matilda's family was doing morning chores. We see her father, mother, sister and younger brother. Leon is doing morning exercises. Matilda's father told her mother that he thought he had made a mistake this time. Matilda changed the TV channel, and her sister chased after her, slapping her as she got closer. The phone rang, and the girl answered the call. It was Matilda's school calling, informing her parents that she had been absent for 2 weeks, and without an explanation, she would be expelled. Matilda replied that she was already dead. Leon placed his plant pot in the sunlight and then left the apartment. As he passed by, he heard noise from Matilda's house. He entered the cinema and watched Singing in the Rain, enjoying every moment of the film. When he returned home, he found Matilda sitting on the stairs with a bleeding nose. He told her that life was always full of challenges. Matilda asked him if she should go get milk from the store for him. Back in his apartment, Leon grabbed a glass and poured milk. Meanwhile, armed gunmen entered the building, followed by Stan. Stan used a type of drug and said that he liked these small peaceful moments before the storm came. Matilda's father was waiting for them as promised, and Leon saw them in the hallway. Stan opened fire on the apartment. As the soldiers followed him, he killed Matilda's mother first, then killed her older sister and ransacked the house. Stan's henchmen were also terrified of him. Finally, Stan confronted Matilda's father and told him that it was a minute past noon. Malky and the others entered the house, and Stan ordered them to search the apartment. Meanwhile, Matilda was at the store buying food. Stan joked with her father while her younger brother hid under the bed. The gunmen were searching the apartment, and Stan stood aside long enough for Matilda's father to grab a gun and start shooting. One of Stan's henchmen panicked and fired at the entire house, killing the boy. Matilda's father escaped, but Stan still managed to shoot after him. When he saw blood on his suit, he continued to chase and fired an entire magazine into the man. The henchmen standing outside the door started to feel anxious upon hearing the gunshots, and Malky stopped Stan, preventing him from firing more. Malky stepped outside and almost got shot by Benny, another of Stan's men. Matilda entered the building and immediately sensed something was wrong. She saw her father dead and heard Malky say that they had killed her brother. She rang Leon's doorbell, begging him to let her in. Meanwhile, one of Stan's henchmen watched Matilda struggle at the door. Leon hesitated for a moment but eventually opened the door for her. Matilda stepped into the kitchen, while Leon stood by the door. Malky realized Matilda was missing and ordered his men to search for her. The guard at the door remembered Matilda and went to knock on Leon's door. Leon pointed the gun at the door as the guard approached, and both of them were startled when Matilda turned on the TV. They found the drugs in the apartment, while other police officers arrived at the scene. Stan ordered his men to tell them that they were just doing their job. Leon expressed his condolences to Matilda about her family, but she said they were all terrible, except for her younger brother whom she dearly loved. Leon took a pig-shaped oven mitt from the kitchen and tried to cheer her up in his naive way. He asked her if she had anywhere else to go and she replied no. Leon took more milk, and when he returned, Matilda opened his suitcase and discovered the guns. When he came back, she asked him if he was a cleaner, meaning a hitman, and Leon confirmed. Then, Matilda asked him how much money it would take to hire him to kill the person who killed her brother. When she heard the price, she made an offer. She would work for him in exchange for him teaching her how to become a cleaner. Leon refused, but Matilda said she had nowhere else to go. Instead of arguing, Leon told her to rest and that they would talk tomorrow. He tucked her in, and she said that he had been very kind to her. In the middle of the night, Leon decided to kill her while she was sleeping in bed, but he changed his mind. The next day, Leon placed his plant in the sunlight and then exercised. He heard Matilda waking up and told her that after breakfast, she had to leave. Matilda handed him a piece of paper, and Leon realized he couldn't read it. The paper said that she had decided what to do with her life. Matilda wanted to become a cleaner. Leon gave her a gun as a farewell gift, and he worked alone. Matilda tried to convince him by saying that because he had saved her life, he was responsible for her life. Leon told her that she was just a little girl and that she wouldn't be able to do it. Matilda grabbed the gun and shot out the window as proof that she could do it. Then, Leon and Matilda walked down the street and he stopped to tell her never to do that again, as it was an unprofessional act. They arrived at a hotel, and the receptionist asked if they were planning to play the violin there. Matilda quickly lied and charmed him, getting him to agree to let them stay. The receptionist handed them some forms to fill out, and Matilda quickly grabbed them, saying she would do it so Leon wouldn't feel embarrassed. Leon left the plant downstairs and went up to the room with Matilda. He carefully checked the room, then sat down while Matilda completed the paperwork. Once again, she begged him to teach her how to become a cleaner. A while later, Leon went to see Tony and asked him to find a beginner's gun. Tony was surprised and couldn't believe it, but Leon said he needed it for practice. Then, Leon opened a gun case with a rifle in front of Matilda and said this was the first weapon she needed to learn. He explained that the rifle would help her keep a distance from the target. As she became more professional, she could get closer to the target. They found a suitable spot to practice. Leon guided Matilda on how to aim and emphasized, "Don't shoot women and children." Matilda looked through the scope and saw a man jogging. Leon told her to get ready and then said, "Now." She shot the man with a paintball, and Leon was impressed with her skill. Afterward, Matilda was seen cleaning windows, washing dishes and cleaning guns. They did sit-ups together, and Leon made her drink milk. At night, she slept on the bed while he continued to sleep on the chair, as usual. Early in the morning, he woke her up to continue doing sit-ups, but she did the exercise her sister used to do. Matilda taught Leon how to write, and Leon taught her how to assemble a gun. One day, Matilda thought they needed a break and suggested playing an association game. She dressed up as Madonna, then Marilyn Monroe, and then Charlie Chaplin, but Leon didn't recognize any of them. Finally, she dressed up as Gene Kelly, and Leon recognized him immediately. When it was his turn, Leon imitated John Wayne, but Matilda didn't know who he was portraying. Matilda watched Leon take care of his plant and remarked that he really cared about it. Leon said that the plant was like him. Matilda suggested that if he truly loved it, he should plant it in the ground so it could take root one day. Later, Leon went to meet Tony and asked if one day he could get back the money he had earned over the years. Tony thought Leon had met a woman, so he warned him to be careful with women, reminding him that he had gotten into trouble because of a woman before. Leon said that he wanted to use part of the money to help someone. Tony agreed and said the money was still there, he just needed to ask for it. Then, Tony gave Leon $100 and said they needed to discuss business. Meanwhile, Leon saw Matilda talking to a boy on the street and ran out to remind her. He sternly told her not to talk to strangers, not to swear, and to stop smoking. Back at the hotel, Matilda unexpectedly told Leon that she was in love with him. Leon asked how she knew, and she replied that she could feel it in her stomach. Leon said that feeling didn't mean anything and left to go to work. As he stepped into the hallway, he had a brief emotional moment but quickly regained his composure. Matilda stood by the window, watching him leave. Later, Matilda talked to the hotel receptionist and claimed that Leon wasn't her father, but her lover, leaving him stunned. She returned to her old apartment, sneaking inside through the sealed tape. Matilda took her brother's stuffed rabbit and stood in the chalk outline of his body. She found her father's hidden money in the apartment. At that moment, Matilda heard Stan enter and immediately hid. She overheard him saying that her father had reached for a gun, so he had to kill him. Stan mentioned that he didn't see any children in the house. The other police officers asked him to cooperate, but Stan replied that if they wanted him to cooperate, they had to come to his office. Matilda remembered Stan's office number and quickly ran after him. She took a taxi to follow Stan's car and discovered that Stan was a DEA agent. When Leon returned, she was already in the front room. He brought her a gift, but just then, the receptionist knocked on the door and asked them to leave the hotel. Matilda and Leon moved to another place. At the new place, Leon took a shower and stitched his own wound, while Matilda poured a glass of milk for him. She handed him the money she had found and asked him to carry out the assassination of the person who killed her family. Leon refused the job, and also didn't agree to let her borrow his equipment. Matilda asked why he was so harsh with her and why he wouldn't help her take revenge on her family. Leon explained that revenge never leads to good results, that she should forget about it, but Matilda said she couldn't forget. Leon warned that when you kill someone, life will never be the same again. She would have to live on guard, sleeping with only one eye closed. Matilda, despite his warning, took a handgun and declared that if she won the roulette game, Leon would have to keep her forever. Leon said she would lose because there was one bullet in the chamber. Matilda put the gun to her temple and said she loved him. Leon immediately grabbed the gun, shot it into the ceiling to stop her from doing something rash, and then Matilda thought she had won. Then, they went to meet Tony, and Leon said he had received a job and needed help. Although Tony hesitated because Matilda was too young, he reluctantly agreed when he saw how quickly she was learning. Tony asked the waiter to bring them 2 glasses of milk. During a mission, Leon taught Matilda how to recognize the target's security chain. He rang the bell, and she started talking, making the man trust her and open the door. Leon broke the door's chain and entered, with Matilda following behind. Leon pressed the gun to the man's mouth and ordered him to stay still while he checked the area. When he saw everything was safe, Leon pointed to where the target should stand and told Matilda that it was her turn. Matilda assembled the gun and shot the target with a paintball gun, then fired a kill shot. Leon explained the meaning of each shot while the man, confused, didn't understand what was happening. He instructed her never to shoot the target's face, as it was necessary to identify them. Leon took down the target while teaching Matilda how to maintain the silencer. Matilda destroyed all the drugs in the apartment before they left. Then, they opened champagne to celebrate. Matilda wanted a kiss from Leon, but he refused and told her to sit down. Matilda once again said that she loved him. Leon told her that he carried out his first mission when he was only 19. Matilda finished a glass of wine and laughed maniacally, which made Leon extremely worried. In the next mission, they continued to work well together and perfected their method. When they arrived at an apartment, Leon heard people inside preparing weapons. He immediately pulled Matilda out of the danger zone and told her that in such situations, she should use the grenade ring trick. Leon threw a grenade into the apartment, then raised the grenade ring to demonstrate. The next day, Leon went to meet Tony alone. He appeared worried, sat down, and told Tony that if one day something happened to him, Tony should give all his money to Matilda. Tony assured him that he could trust him. Then, Leon prepared for a big mission but told Matilda that he couldn't take her along. He said he needed some time alone to grow. Matilda stayed by herself, taking care of the plants, watching TV, and gradually growing up. A few boys tried to bully her, but she simply gave them money and told them to go play somewhere else. However, Matilda was making her own plans. Matilda followed Stan to his workplace. She trailed behind him inside, pretending to bring him food and easily signed in on the registry. Matilda followed Stan to the men's restroom. However, Stan was already waiting for her there. He ordered her to put the bag on the floor and asked who had sent her. Matilda replied that she was acting on her own and wasn't working for anyone. Stan asked if this was a personal matter, and Matilda said that he had killed her brother. Stan pretended to apologize but quickly asked if she wanted to cooperate with him. Matilda said that she wanted to live, and Stan replied that that was good, because he didn't find it interesting to kill someone who wanted to live. Suddenly, one of his men entered and reported that Malky was dead. The person he was dealing with said that a professional hitman had killed Malky, and before shooting, the hitman had said, "No women, no children." Stan decided not to kill Matilda and told his men to take her to the office. Matilda quickly realized that Leon was the one who had killed Malky. When Leon returned home, he found a letter from Matilda, in which she said she was looking for Stan and had left money for a hit contract if they killed her. She confirmed that she loved him once again. Leon immediately went to the DEA office to save Matilda. At Stan's office, Matilda was with his men, and they wondered what she would do with the large number of guns. Suddenly, Leon appeared and shot them both, and he and Matilda embraced each other. That night, Matilda wore the dress that Leon had bought for her. Leon liked the dress, but when Matilda tried to seduce him, he refused. Leon told her the story of a woman he had once loved in Italy. Her father didn't want her to meet Leon, so he killed her, and the police released the father after only 2 days. One night, Leon killed him and fled to the US by boat, and since then, he had never had a girlfriend. Matilda agreed to stop, but she made Leon sleep in the same bed with her. It was the first time Leon had lain in a bed after a long time. The next day, Tony received a visit from Stan, and they surrounded Tony's restaurant. Stan sat down and asked Tony if he knew who had killed Malky, as the assassination took place on his territory, and the person who carried it out looked like an Italian. He also mentioned Matilda and the man who had come to his office to take her. Stan wanted to meet this man. Meanwhile, Leon woke up in the morning, and Matilda asked if he had slept well, but Leon replied that he always slept with one eye open. Matilda got up to buy some milk, and they performed the secret knock signal. Leon lay back down on the bed, but when Matilda returned, Stan was waiting for her. A SWAT team quickly captured her before she could enter the apartment. They asked Matilda about the apartment keys and the knock signal to let Leon know it was her. Matilda deliberately gave them the wrong code, and as the agents knocked on the door and prepared to break in, Leon waited inside. When they entered, not seeing Leon anywhere, he closed the door from behind and quickly took them down. The people outside discovered that the special agents had been eliminated and reported back to Stan. Stan ordered Benny to mobilize everyone. Immediately, the police, patrol teams, emergency services, and numerous SWAT operatives were deployed to surround the entire building. Leon held his position in the apartment and began firing back at the SWAT forces, taking down several before being wounded. One of the reconnaissance officers approached the apartment, saw Leon, and faced the barrel of his gun. Leon took the officer hostage, forcing the other police officers to retreat, and demanded that they release Matilda. She ran to him, grabbed the axe hanging on the wall, and together they made a plan to escape. While holding the hostage, Leon shot and broke the fire hose nozzles, making the officers think he had shot his teammates, causing them to fire wildly and accidentally kill their own people. Leon fired back to create distance and slow their progress. He comforted Matilda, and as they prepared for the next battle, he saved his beloved plant from sniper fire. Leon led Matilda into another room, where the police had blocked the hallway. To help Matilda escape, Leon shot a large hole in the wall and told her to crawl through it. Matilda didn't want to go because she knew Leon wouldn't be able to follow her. Leon convinced her, saying that he had saved a lot of money with Tony and promised they would meet again to leave together. Meanwhile, the police were preparing to blow up the apartment, and Matilda feared she would lose Leon forever. But Leon told her that, thanks to her, he had learned the meaning of life and no longer wanted to be alone. Leon persuaded Matilda to leave through the escape route and told her that he loved her. The police blew up the apartment, but fortunately, Leon survived. As they prepared to enter, one person raised their hand in surrender. The police quickly approached and took the person down to the lower floor. It was Leon. He had disguised himself as one of them to escape. Meanwhile, Stan was furious for failing to capture Leon and Matilda. Matilda safely left the building. Meanwhile, as medics were tending to Leon, Stan appeared and recognized him. Leon quickly put his mask back on, and Stan ordered all the police to retreat. Matilda slipped out through the back exit, passing the officers without raising suspicion. Leon descended to the lower floor, nearing the exit, when Stan appeared behind him and shot him. Stan knelt down to check on him, and Leon asked if he was Stan. When Stan confirmed, Leon handed him a grenade pin and said it was a gift from Matilda. A massive explosion occurred, engulfing both of them. Matilda goes to Tony, who offers to hold the money for her as he did for Leon. He gave her $100, but Matilda wanted a job as a cleaner, like Leon. Tony became angry, saying everything was over because Leon was dead. Both were heartbroken by the loss, and Tony advised Matilda to take the money and go back to school. Matilda returned to the school where she had been expelled. She then made up a story about her family's death to be readmitted. The principal agreed but asked her to stop lying and to trust her. Matilda decided to tell the truth, leaving the principal stunned. She planted Leon's plant in the school garden, gently saying that they would both be fine here. Remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to see more exciting videos. Thank you for watching.